Take a slow, comfortable breath, and let the gentle rhythm of rain carry you to the quiet shores of Hollow Bay. The rain had been falling since late afternoon, covering the tiny fishing town in a silver curtain. The streets glistened beneath old-fashioned lanterns, and every rooftop shimmered under the soft drizzle. Waves rolled lazily against the rocky coastline, never crashing loudly, only whispering as though they were telling old stories to the shore. Emma Carter eased her blue station wagon onto the narrow main street. She had left Boston before sunrise, leaving behind crowded sidewalks, endless meetings, and the constant hum of city life. After 15 years working as a librarian, she had inherited her grandmother Margaret's cottage overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. She hadn't visited Hollow Bay since she was 12. Yet somehow, everything looked exactly as she remembered. The old bakery still stood beside the harbor. The weathered bookstore still displayed handwritten signs in its windows. The tiny clock tower still chimed every hour. Even the lighthouse, standing proudly on Blackstone Point, looked unchanged. Only one thing was different. It hadn't shone a light in 40 years. At least, that was what everyone believed. Emma parked outside the cottage just as the church bell rang 6 times. The house greeted her with faded white walls, ivy climbing the porch railing, and windows glowing softly in the rainy evening light. The front door creaked exactly the way it had when she was a child. Inside, everything smelled of cedar wood, lavender, and old books. Her grandmother had loved books more than almost anything. Shelves stretched from floor to ceiling, packed with mystery novels, travel journals, maps, and handwritten diaries. Emma smiled. "I'm home." The words echoed quietly through the empty rooms. She spent the next 2 hours unpacking boxes, placing books onto shelves and opening windows just enough to hear the rain outside. The sound felt comforting, almost musical. Later that evening she decided to walk into town. Despite the weather, several neighbors greeted her warmly. An elderly fisherman tipped his cap. A young couple smiled from beneath one umbrella. Children splashed through puddles before their parents hurried them indoors. Everyone seemed kind. But every conversation ended strangely. When Emma mentioned the lighthouse, people changed the subject. One woman suddenly remembered an appointment. Another pretended to hear someone calling her name. The harbor master simply stared toward the sea. Finally Emma entered the oldest bakery in town. Warm cinnamon filled the air. Fresh bread cooled on wooden shelves while rain tapped gently against the windows. The elderly baker looked up. "You must be Margaret's granddaughter." Emma smiled. "I suppose news travels quickly here." The baker laughed softly. "It always has." She wrapped a loaf of warm sourdough in brown paper before lowering her voice. "If you wake after midnight." Emma looked up. "Don't watch the lighthouse." Emma blinked. "The abandoned lighthouse." The woman nodded. "It isn't abandoned every night." Before Emma could ask another question, another customer entered. The conversation ended. Walking home beneath her umbrella, Emma couldn't stop thinking about those words. It isn't abandoned every night. Surely it was only another local legend. Every small town had one. Back at the cottage she lit a fire, brewed chamomile tea, and settled into the rocking chair beside the window. Outside, fog drifted across the ocean. The lighthouse appeared only as a dark silhouette against the gray sky. She opened one of her grandmother's journals. Most pages described flowers blooming in spring, recipes for blackberry pie, weather notes, bird migrations. Then, near the middle of the journal, one page contained only a single sentence. When the light returns, stay inside. No explanation. No date. Emma searched the following pages. Nothing. It was as though her grandmother had written the warning and then deliberately refused to explain it. A cold breeze brushed against the window. The grandfather clock downstairs chimed 11. Emma yawned. Perhaps everyone in Hollow Bay simply enjoyed telling mysterious stories. She smiled at the thought. Outside, the rain slowly stopped. The silence that followed felt strangely complete. No wind. No waves. No gulls. Nothing. Emma glanced at the old brass clock on the wall. 11:47 p.m. Exactly then, every light inside the cottage flickered once. Twice. The fire dimmed. Then returned. Emma stood. Almost without thinking, she walked toward the upstairs telescope her grandmother had always kept aimed toward the ocean. She looked through it. For several seconds. Nothing. Only darkness. Then, a brilliant white beam burst across the sea. The lighthouse had come alive. Its lantern turned slowly, sending a wide circle of light over the black water exactly as it must have decades ago. Emma lowered the telescope. Impossible. The lighthouse had no electricity. No keeper. No maintenance. Yet the light continued turning with perfect rhythm. 1, 2, 3. Complete revolutions. Then something unexpected happened. Inside the lantern room, someone was standing there. Only a shadow. Motionless. Watching the sea. Emma quickly raised the telescope again. The figure was gone. Had she imagined it? The beam continued sweeping over the waves. Then, it blinked. 3 flashes. A pause. 2 flashes. Another pause. 1 final flash. Not random. Deliberate. A signal. Emma grabbed a notebook and copied the pattern. 3, 2, 1. Again the lighthouse repeated it. Across the harbor every fishing boat remained tied safely to their docks. Nobody appeared to notice. Then, across town, one porch light quietly switched off. A moment later another window closed. Someone else had seen the signal. Someone had understood it. Emma suddenly remembered something from childhood. Her grandmother once told her, "Lighthouses guide more than ships." At the time Emma thought it was simply a poetic saying. Now, she wasn't so sure. She stayed awake until nearly 2 in the morning watching the lonely tower. Eventually the light disappeared. The lighthouse returned to darkness, as though nothing had happened. Emma finally went to bed. But before falling asleep, she made herself one promise. Tomorrow, she was going to find out why an abandoned lighthouse still shone after 40 years. And why everyone in Hollow Bay seemed determined to pretend it never happened. End of part 1, continued in the next section. The next morning, Hollow Bay woke beneath a blanket of soft gray clouds. The rain had stopped, leaving tiny droplets clinging to the pine trees and wildflowers along the cliffs. Emma couldn't stop thinking about the mysterious light. After breakfast, she walked to the town library, a small stone building overlooking the harbor. The librarian, Mrs. Evelyn Brooks, smiled warmly but grew quiet when Emma mentioned the lighthouse. There are some stories, she said softly, that the town decided were better left unfinished. Emma searched through decades of old newspapers. Nearly every article about the lighthouse had been carefully preserved, except for 1 year. The year the lighthouse keeper disappeared. Every newspaper from that autumn had one page missing. Someone had removed them long ago. That afternoon, Emma wandered through her grandmother's attic. Dust floated through shafts of sunlight as she opened an old wooden sea chest. Inside lay a brass compass, a faded photograph, and a leather journal. On the first page was written, "If someone finds this, the light has returned." The journal belonged to Thomas Hale, the last lighthouse keeper. His entries described lonely nights watching storms roll across the Atlantic, helping lost fishing boats find their way home. But the final pages were different. He wrote that every autumn, on the anniversary of a terrible storm, he lit the lighthouse for 1 hour. Not because ships needed it. Because the families of those lost at sea gathered quietly in their homes. The beam sweeping across the bay was their moment of remembrance. 3 flashes. 2 flashes. 1 flash. It wasn't a warning. It meant, we remember. When the lighthouse closed in 1986, the town secretly continued the tradition every year. No newspapers. No announcements. No visitors. Just quiet remembrance. Thomas himself hadn't vanished. The final page explained everything. He had become seriously ill and left Hollow Bay peacefully, asking the townspeople never to turn his simple act of kindness into a tourist attraction. Some memories, he wrote, shine brightest when shared only with those who understand. That evening Emma climbed the winding path toward the lighthouse. The wooden door opened with a gentle creak. Inside she found fresh oil in the lantern mechanism. Someone had been maintaining it all these years. Footsteps echoed behind her. The harbor master entered carrying a lantern. "I suppose you've discovered our secret." Emma nodded. "You've been lighting it." He smiled. "Not just me." One by one, people from the town quietly arrived. The baker, the librarian, the fisherman, the schoolteacher, even children carrying small candles. No speeches, no ceremony. Only silence. As darkness settled over Hollow Bay, the old lighthouse lantern slowly came to life once more. Its warm beam swept peacefully across the calm ocean. Everyone stood together watching. Some smiled. Some quietly wiped away tears. No one spoke. The harbor master finally whispered, "Every family here lost someone in the great autumn storm." Emma understood. The mystery had never been about ghosts, or hidden treasure, or strange disappearances. It was about remembering people with kindness. The lighthouse had never guided ships anymore. It guided memories home. Over the following weeks, Emma decided not to write a newspaper article. She didn't tell reporters. She didn't post photographs online. Instead, she accepted the town's invitation to become part of the tradition. She reopened her grandmother's cottage library, welcoming visitors looking for quiet afternoons filled with books, tea, and stories. Children came after school. Travelers stopped during rainy evenings. Neighbors gathered for book clubs beside the fireplace. Life settled into a peaceful rhythm. Every autumn, on one quiet evening, the lighthouse shone again. 3 flashes. 2 flashes. 1 flash. Only those who belonged to Hollow Bay understood its meaning. And that was enough. Years later, visitors sometimes asked Emma, "Does the abandoned lighthouse ever work?" She simply smiled. "Only when someone needs to remember." Outside, gentle rain drifted across the sea. The lighthouse stood peacefully against the night sky. Its secret remained safe. Its light continued to shine, not for ships, but for hearts. And in Hollow Bay, some mysteries were never meant to be solved completely. They were simply meant to be treasured. The end.